is the first time I'm playing a quintessential hero who fights for love, who's extremely strong, larger than life. And yes, of course, whenever Ritesh comes into my life, I lose a loved one. But it can't be compared to Ek Villain.
I think it is part of like what we do, and I think that that's bound to happen, and it's fun. It's sort of flattering in a way that people see a chemistry and write about that and things like that.
मुझे कम से कम 2 घंटा चाहिए आपकी ज़िंदगी का, और वो भी 15 नवंबर से, और मैं आपको आराम से एक बड़े पर्दे पे पॉपकॉर्न और पेप्सी के साथ एक ड्रिंक के साथ आपको बताऊंगा कि रघु ने जोया को क्यों मारा. Hi, namaste. I'm Sidharth Malhotra.
And I'm Sutaria.
And you're watching us on Bombay Times Online.
I play a mute girl, Zoya. My character's name is Zoya, and she can't communicate and speak the way we regularly do in film, and generally she communicates through sign language, and of course with her expressions and her eyes. That's something that really excited me about the film, and of course about the character itself. And I think it's just a very unusual love story. I think there's so much that's unsaid in the film, and it's pure and it's sweet, and there aren't very many films, I think, these days that are being made like Marjaavaan. So it's, as soon as I heard it, I just knew I had to be a part of it.
Well, for me, I think Marjaavaan brings back a sort of cinema which, I saw in the 70s and 80s, or, I've seen heroes like Mr. Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan portray these heroes who fight for love, have amazing dialogues to give. So I think the packaging of it was something which I have never done before. This is the first time I'm playing a quintessential hero who fights for love, who's extremely strong, larger than life. And then secondly, the point that this love story comes to, where I think for the first time in Hindi cinema you see a hero, literally shooting his lover. And why it happens and how it happens is the film Marjaavaan, and I think it brings back the fun commercial cinema of the 70s and 80s or even 90s. So yeah, I think we have a wonderful film made purely for the audience, and looking forward to the response on 15th of November. It's nothing to do with Ek Villain. I think the film is not at all similar, nor is the trailer. I completely disagree. I think it's only me and Ritesh who are the similar factor in the film, where again we are back as hero and a villain. And yes, of course, whenever Ritesh comes into my life, I lose a loved one in the film. I think that's the only common factor. But it can't be compared to Ek Villain. Maybe it has the same intensity and similar elements, but not at all similar to Villain. There is no, there's so many things I can't divulge. Once you see the film, you'll realize. But yeah, Ritesh and me back together after a successful film like Ek Villain is exciting for me, and I'm looking forward for people to see us fight it out once again after Ek Villain.
It was challenging for sure, but it was also lots of fun, because I think it's always great to learn new things. That's the bonus of being an actor, I think. And it's my second film. I feel quite grateful actually to be able to use sign language to communicate. It's not easy, but like I said, I quite enjoyed it. I really liked learning it, and it's something I hope to be able to use in the future as well.
The film is very intense, but I think the set was completely opposite because of, I think it stems from Milap Zaveri, who's very good with actors, very good with creating a very warm, happy vibe on set. So I think, yeah, the set vibe was completely opposite. We used to do very intense, heavy scenes, and off camera we should just be very relaxed and have fun. The incident that you're talking about is from a very important scene, rain sequence that we had in the film. And we were in Bombay winter, if you can call Bombay having one winter, in January, and at night shooting in rain for about 5. Yeah, we were in the outskirts of Bombay, so it was slightly colder, cooler than usual, and Milap wasn't getting wet any of those days, so we decided one last night, and Ritesh was the first one to grab him and just hose him down with a lot of water. So yeah, I think we, Milap is very accessible, very open to suggestions.
He's a really fun-loving person, and that sort of
Yeah.
translated onto our set, which is great because of the kind of intense stuff that we were shooting. So I think he really balanced it out, and we had a ball on set.
Milap had, our director had references from, Bachchan Saab's films or Sunny Deol or Sanjay Dutt. I wouldn't say any films in specific that I had, based it on. I just knew that this character, had needed certain traits, whether his, and he was just a victim of his environment. He's an orphan born and brought up in the basti of Mumbai, and is amongst the water mafia in Mumbai that exists, and how he falls in love with this girl, and then what happens and conspires him to kill that love, is the aspect. So I don't think I've seen any film which has certain elements in it. So there was no reference, but definitely I think, as you said, the inspiration comes from that sort of cinema, which is larger than life and which is made for an audience, and completely commercial and keeping the audience in mind.
We actually met while we were filming Marjaavaan, and it was lots of fun. Of course, it was very serious and intense as well. But I think everyone connected so well on the set, and yeah, it was fantastic. No, I don't think it's ever awkward. I think it is part of like what we do, and I think that that's bound to happen. And it's fun. It's sort of flattering in a way that people see a chemistry and write about that and things like that. And it's part of what we do.
I'm very happy with the response we're getting for our music. We have 2 original songs that have come in, Tumi Aana or Thodi Jagah, and they're very heartfelt, very intense, very, very emotional at the same time. And it's very important for us, for people to like those songs and that video, because that is what the film is. It is essentially a love story. So it's very difficult for me to pick, from the favorite part of the film, which is the love story. So I'm kind of confused. We both. We have 2 original love songs, and for me, they both are favorite. Thodi Jagah and Tumi Aana.
I'm a little bit more biased to Tumi Aana, because I think it was the first song also that we shot. It was, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a beautiful song to shoot, and it's even more beautiful now when we watch it. I love the visuals, I love the music. Of course, Thodi Jagah is beautiful as well. So it's difficult to choose, but I do love Tumi Aana.
But I don't know, as I said, we need a good story, we need a good director who can, because we're coming from Mr. Karan Johar directing and producing us, which is a tall order to follow. So if that happens, you never know. Yes, my next film, my next release is Sher Shah, which will come out next year. It's a biopic on Captain Vikram Batra, who's a soldier who gave his life for our country during the Kargil War, and I'm giving out his life story. So it's the first time I'm playing a real life character, and we have almost pretty much finished shooting. We have a few more days left, and it's a special story. I've been trying to make this story for about 2.5, 3 years, and finally I got Dharma Productions on board with Shabir Boxwala, who had the story, and a lovely team has come together with Vishnu Vardhan directing, who's making his Hindi debut. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that film, and right after Marjaavaan, you will see it coming up next year.
Well, what's common between them is that they're both very hardworking, and they absolutely adore what they do, which is so important, especially, I mean, in any profession, but especially when you're in our profession, because everything shows, your dedication, your hard work, how much you love what you're doing, it shows, and it really shows with Sid and of course with Tiger as well. They do have similarities, but they're also very different in their own ways, which is fantastic, and there's lots to learn with both of them.
Well, I think definitely one, wants their producers to make, a lot of money of the film to be profitable. But today there are a lot of avenues to make a film profitable. Of course, box office being the main, but there is digital, there is satellite, there is music. But yeah, I think it's something that is beyond my control. insofar in these films contributing just as an actor. There's a whole massive team that comes to making a good film, a commercially viable film or an audience-friendly film. And I think you don't really know at times what connects and what doesn't. The key is not to let it affect your next film or next release. Because if you take that pressure of box office, I think it's not benefiting you at all at present. You're just taking that added pressure. Rather, you concentrate on your present work, make a film to the best version that you can, and hope for the best. And I have tried to take enough, risk when it comes to content. Some have worked for me, some haven't. Even Ek Villain that we were referring to as my third film was a big risk at that time. To play a character which is intense and action-oriented, where I was coming from two very softer films, which is Student of the Year and Hasi To Phasi. That worked out for me. So I think the key is to keep trying new things and hoping for the best and not dwell over that one film or that one Friday or those kind of films which is not going well. I think that's जैसे कहते हैं कि time की बात होती है. There is no correct choice to make in the film industry. Anyone who's telling you that is I don't know, just making up things because nobody knows what works. People take risk, and as I said, Ek Villain or Kapoor and Sons were risky films for me. For me to do action at that time, where I had zero reference or fight for love and play a very solid, hard character. Hats off to Mohit Suri, to portray that. I think there is no one way to become successful in the industry, and there are no good and bad choices. I think there's so many factors. So I think as long as you're working and trying to churn out more content, I think even if you see the biggest stars in the country, they have gone through so many films, and not all the films that they've done have worked out their way. And you only remember a handful of their performances. So I think you just have to keep working and hope for the best.
I've actually just started working on my third film this year, which is a remake of a film called RX100. And as soon as Marjaavaan releases, I will be moving to Mussoorie for a few months to shoot it. So I'm very, very excited.